Well, there's a nasty cold front blowing in right now, and it's not really that cold at all. It's 55 degrees in the early morning, but it's blowing probably about 20 miles an hour, and it's raining just a little bit, and it's going to only get colder today. So the last thing I really want to do is get out there and get wet. So if it'll stop, I've got a place here pretty close to where I'm staying that I'm going to check out. It's not a very far walk in. So if it'll stop before sunrise, which is supposed to pretty much do that, then I'm going to head in there. If not, I might be just kind of driving and that kind of thing till it stops raining and it's time for me to head into the woods and hunt. So let's see what happens in the next half hour or so. The wind's blowing upwards of 20 miles an hour. The front's blowing in right now. The rain is pretty much subsided. There's still some just light mist in the air. Got in here a little bit late, kind of purposefully, like I talked about earlier. This is either a set that I look like an idiot or a genius, one or the other, but there's a county road probably like 80 yards away. I mean, not far at all. But it's a super muddy, just not maintained county road. Like there won't be anybody on it today, and it doesn't look like there's been too many people down it in the last week or so, just because of the wet conditions, I guess. I came in here and hunted like a mile north of here a couple nights ago, and it was muddy then. I doubt people were going through it then. So what I'm doing is I'm sitting here on this west wind. I've got this creek behind me. I've got some kind of old lane in here. Almost looks like a road that's out here about 25 yards that I'm hoping deer crossing from down here across the road will come down this road. There's pretty good trails there. I'm just hoping it's not all nighttime. I guess what I'm hoping is that a buck comes from either direction, either down this trail or down this little trail that looks like a buck trail right next to the river here, which I've got a slam dunk shot. I'd have to be real lucky to get the right doe to come through right now that's gonna stir things up, but really just hoping for a cruising buck. And if that happens, I'm gonna do my best to put a good shot on him. Yes. Can you FaceTime me? I want you to look at something real quick.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Oh!
Bro, I just smoked him. He died 20 yards from the stand. I can't hold it together right now, dude.
Oh! What happened?
Dude, I'm sitting here 80 yards off the road.
What?
Like, sitting here thinking, why am I such an idiot? And I look over, and crossing the creek or the river or whatever, like at the road where the best spot to cross it is a buck. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And then I see his doe come up first, and they come right down this trail down the river where I actually wasn't originally going to set up, and I decided to. And I probably held draw for at least a minute, and he was like grunting the whole time. I hope I got good footage of it, but like, dude, I shot him at 20, maybe just a little bit under. Kind of quarter two, put it on his shoulder, and the dude just ran over here, stood, and tipped over. Like he didn't go. He probably went like 35 yards, and then just fell over.
So you never knew what happened?
No, he had no clue, dude. He was running. The doe was like getting ready to be chased, and he like took like a couple of hard steps, and I smoked him through the shoulder.
Dead gummit, man. What is he? Oh no!
Oh no!
I'm definitely not taking credit for it, but I did not answer you last night because I thought it was a bad idea for you to leave Iowa. So, I don't know if you got that or not.
Well, I might be in Kansas tonight. So.
Woo! That's what I like to hear.
Awesome, dude. Congrats, man.
Thanks, dude. See ya. Oh, I'm shaking. I cannot believe that happened. I looked up at the road. At the road is the best place for them to cross the creek if they're going to. So they came from the other side of the creek. I never saw the doe, but I looked over and there's just a nice buck sitting there at the road. He crosses the creek, and then all of a sudden I see his doe come up first. It kind of surprised me. I thought she was going to make her way into this lane. She ended up coming through this thick stuff, which is the second place that I was going to set up in a tree right there, which I still probably could have shot them, but they would have been directly downwind, and it would have made difficult shooting lanes and that kind of thing. But I ended up scooting back. Just once I went to the creek, I saw that there was a like interior trail right here in this brush next to the creek, and I thought, with my wind blowing back there, I need to be able to shoot to this trail. And I'm glad I did, because whenever he started going chasing that doe, the last few steps, he was within 20 yards, and so I just put it on his shoulder, and the day 6 went right through him. So I mean, he didn't go 35 yards and ended up dying within a 20-yard bow shot of the stand here. So I'm gonna get down and look at him after I make a few phone calls. Just tipped over.
That's sweet. How far off the road are you?
Dude, I'm literally, I could shoot an elk probably at this distance.
I was gonna say, you want him to help dragging them out, but you might not even need it.
I mean, the worst part is gonna be the slick, muddy road up the hill, you know, so. That's it, man.
Oh,
Crazy.
dude, that's awesome.
I know.
That's awesome.
I'm stoked. I'm shaking like crazy still, man. Your boy T just almost shot a doe. Had that doe and fawn come through, but they stayed down the road pretty much and never came into this block of timber, which I'm glad that the buck and the doe earlier didn't do. They came right down the riverbank. So anyway, let's go see this buck. So here's my stand. Tree. And right there, that black tree, that's where I was gonna sit. The wind's blowing this direction. If I'd have sat in that tree, probably wouldn't have had a shot back in here until they were right there, which would have been downwind. And with the doe coming first, would have been a bad decision. So I'm really glad that I didn't sit in that tree this morning in the dark. I actually set my stuff down there to set the stand. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna walk over here and make sure there's no trails. And when I saw a trail right next to the river, I thought that's the buck trail on this wind, a west or a northwest, that he's traveling through that thick stuff along the side of the river and smelling all this back here, trying to pick up a doe that might be walking through. He can also see pretty good back this way and feel pretty safe that he's traveling down the bank there. Here's the trail that I was seeing. It's very faint. There's a trail that goes right through there. Comes right along the side of the river here. And then this trail right here as well. It's really faint. Had to kind of look for it and see a few deer tracks and that kind of thing. And that tree right there is about right where he was standing when I shot him. Let's go find the arrow. See, that trail's a little better right there. That's where the doe is at. Over here. There's my arrow. Goodness. Smoke City. Broadhead did its job on a quarter two. Smoked him and stuck in the dirt on the other side. So he was standing right in there somewhere. And there's the tree. So deer are coming down off that far bank for the most part, crossing the water right there, coming up the road here and coming into this trail right here. And there's a lane, as you can see, and a bunch of thick brush right here. Kind of keeps them from coming straight down, but they work their way up through that stuff pretty easy. And even when they get on this trail, I think they go back here and go down the river. Good. And I can see my truck at the top of the road. All this timber right here focuses down, funnels right into that, which is where I was this morning. It's probably 100 yards wide or a little more. Almost sat in this tree right here. It's like, oh, I'm able to see up and down this lane. And then I set all my stuff right here. And I wanted to walk to the creek and see if there's a trail. And there's a trail right along the creek. And so I set up on that tree back there and shot him right back there and over here. Tipped over. He's growing. He's not going to fit on my cart, that's for sure. Oh, look at that deer. It's a huge deer. I think it's awesome. I love heavy deer. Well, here he is, my buddy John. Big thanks to him for coming out here and helping me drag this dude out and just manage all the camera gear and everything like that. Been a big inspiration for me on this trip, just to continue going even though it gets hard sometimes. And as well as my buddies Sam, Anthony, KC, and my wife as well. Just big thanks to them for just keeping me in the game, because sometimes I can be a bit pessimistic and it's not a good quality or good trait, but I'm trying to manage it a little bit better. This buck kind of read the script this morning for me, which doesn't, as you know, probably happen a whole lot, but came right down the river here, following a doe, grunting like crazy, and gave me a shot at 20 yards. And it was kind of 1:45. I don't know exactly where the exit is, but I would imagine it's pretty good because there's a ton of blood on the arrow, and he went down pretty quick as well. So probably like a big 3-year-old. To me, this is a heavy deer, but here in Iowa, things change for sure. Needless to say, I'm super stoked about this deer. This is going to be still, you know, something that's new to me, is shooting deer on public. It's not like I'm a veteran or an expert or anything like that. It's something that I enjoy doing. I think there's a big challenge in it, and I was super happy to shoot this deer this morning, as you could probably tell from me shaking and smiling and laughing. I did notice as I got down, there's an old wooden tree stand right over here, probably, I don't know, 80-100 yards from where I set my tree stand this morning. And I've noticed that when you hunt public, a lot of these parcels were private at one point. And when you find an old wooden tree stand, you're in a good area almost always. That means that somebody set up shop there and decided that this was a good place to kill a deer. And it was this morning for sure. You come to Iowa to hunt big giant deer, and then you have a chance to shoot deer like this if it gets late in your hunt. And that's just the beauty of this place, all the agriculture, all the deer. So couldn't say anything else about how happy I am. You know, I mentioned yesterday in my interview the sovereignty of God, and I'll just continue to mention that as well. Whether I shot this deer or not, the plan is perfect, and God is good. It's a quality of His that's a characteristic. It doesn't change whether I shoot a deer or not. So anyway, just a couple little things that I've been thinking about while I was sitting in the tree stand freezing my tail off. So anyway, big heavy 8, super stoked. Appreciate you guys watching. Man, that was a crazy cool experience. Something that I probably will never forget, and I never thought would happen, killing a deer that close to the road. Anyway, make sure and subscribe below, because we've got a Kansas series coming next, the second one, and we're in the thick of it again. I don't want you to miss any of that cool action, so subscribe below. Also comment below, because I want to know what you think the age is on the buck that I just killed in this video here. I thought he was 3.5. Let me know if you think he is too. I'm always trying to learn something. So anyway, comment below, and remember, this is your element, living.